program are those of the speakers and the host and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Friday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you, as always, by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown, Anthony Hartwick. And hey, look at that. Mr. Ty Bartell coming back to us. We missed you on Monday, bud.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute too. Taking some care of things on Monday, so we're back.
Yeah, it's a new year for you. The first running point of the new year for you. And, man, we have a fun show today, Ty. Not only are we going to recap all the great action that we saw last night, and we saw a lot of great action, got a couple of 1,000-point scores to shout out. We saw some conference shakeups, a big upset. Going to talk all about it. And we'll also have Allison Durkin on at 1:30 from Girard to talk about one of those big upsets as Girard knocks off Poland 37-35 to shake up the NE8 a little bit.
Bringing the Durkins back on again, huh? I mean, that star on all sides of the hardwood, it seems to be. So we get to talk to her now on the basketball edition of things.
Yeah, let's talk about this game, Ty. First and foremost, put into context, Girard has never beaten Poland as members of the NE8, and me and Ian both looked. We couldn't find the last time that Girard beat Poland. We went back as far as 2008, and I'm not going to sit here and say they've never beaten Poland because that's silly. They could have beaten Poland in the 90s or in the early 2000s. We don't know. But we can confidently say, at least from the year 2008, which is the earliest we could find until now, Girard had never beaten Poland in girls basketball. They come in last night. It was the second matchup of the season. They lost by 20 the first time around, 42-22. And twice Poland took 7-point leads that you would have thought, this is it. Okay, they're going to take control. This is Poland being Poland. Both times, Girard fought their way right back into the game, and they won this game 37-35. Huge win for the Indians. And like I said, their first ever win over Poland as members of the NE8.
And it's a nice win too. And I mean, as the article pretty much well states, it shakes up the standings, and it shakes them up in a big way too. Because for Girard, first and foremost, it puts them one game back of Poland. And yeah, I don't believe, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe they have a second matchup due. I think they've already played. That was their second.
That was their second matchup.
So they can't control their own destiny. They need some more help, but they put themselves in a position where if Poland or Struthers or both do slip up, they could
have to play each other. That's the thing. Poland and Struthers have to play each other, so someone's going to lose that game.
So if you're hoping that. Well, technically too, I don't know. I'd have to look at the Girard Struthers matchups too, because if Girard and Struthers
they have to play each other,
they haven't played each other yet.
So Girard's got to beat Struthers, and then hope that Struthers beats Poland.
And then you have a three-way tie. But pretty much, Struthers has taken what Girard has given him as a major gift right now, and said thanks. Right. Thanks, Girard. You've given us a great chance at taking the crown now.
It's funny because, Struthers barely escaped Monday against South Range, 50-45. They were down late in that game. And guess who hit a big three with about 30 seconds left in the game?
I mean, you got to –
Stiletto with the stiletto. We love saying it. But, that's crazy because Struthers loses that game, and all of a sudden, Girard – that win doesn't really shake up the standings too much. Poland's still in front, They're just a game back now instead of 2 games up. So, what a crazy week in the NE80 it has been, and a slew of really good games that mean a lot to the conference.
And I mean, you get a chance to talk with Coach Blanche usually once a week too. So I know you get a chance to dive into that crazy head of his as well
Mhm.
too. What do you think? What do you think the kind of the message is to a team after a loss? I know they had similar kind of talks. I would imagine after that Struthers game a year ago, and they were able to respond. But I'm
Mhm.
curious, what do you think is being said that fires up that Poland team after conference
I
loss?
think that's exactly it. Last year they had one conference loss. It was to Struthers. Back then it was Struthers' first win over Poland as part of the NE8. So it was kind of the same exact situation where they had never lost Struthers in a conference play, and they finally do. But they got right back on and they beat everybody else and they took care of business and they never lost the NE8. And back then it wasn't Struthers that was fighting with them for the top. It was South Range. So now it's someone that's a little bit back, not too far, but it's Gerard beating him. That's 2 games back of Poland. And now it's going to be going between Poland and Struthers for the NE8 championship, if everything plays out and they take care of business the rest of the way. So that's very interesting that it's kind of working out the exact same as last year, except the teams are flipped a little bit.
Here's the interesting part, too. 57-56. Poland beat Struthers in Poland, too. Struthers almost came away with the upset in Poland. And if you don't think that these two big games at the end of the month are going to be worthwhile, Gerard, January 26th, which is a Thursday, goes to Struthers. And Monday, January 30th, the following Monday, Poland goes to Struthers. Struthers has 2 premier back-to-back home matchups that could very well give them an NE8 crown. Or we will find out who's getting the NE8 crown out of those 3 teams after everything's all said and done. But they also have a big matchup with Liberty coming up due the Wildcats. And I really like that to test themselves. A little non-conference game just thrown in the middle of the conference slate to get them prepared.
And then when Poland beat Struthers, Sarah Forsyth hit 2 free throws to win the game. They were down 56-55, and then Forsyth went to the free throw line, knocked down a pair, and made it 57-56. One, it's been crazy how many games we've seen one at the free throw line this year.
Yeah.
We had another one last night with Columbiana. Caitlin Plesko wins at the line to beat Southern by 24-23. But you'll look at that, and Struthers has got to feel like they were right there. They if they play like that again, Face Delata went off against Poland, and that might be one of the worry spots for Poland, honestly, this year, because you look at that Struthers game, which they won but barely, and the games they lost, and each one a player went off on their defense. One player shined really bright. Abby Davidson had one of the best games of her season against Poland for Salem. You look at Canfield, it was Carly Harmon that went off for 24. Durkin scored 22 last night. It seems like that defense, because of the fact that they're trying to cause chaos, they trap a lot, they're prone to give up some open looks. And in every game they've struggled in this year, it's been one player getting those open looks and taking advantage of them, and then Poland's inability to adjust to a hot hand, because Durkin was hitting shots all night and they still were kind of leaving her with some space open for 3. So maybe that's a little bit of a worry spot for Poland's defense, trying to adjust mid-game to someone that's kind of feeling it on the offensive side. But that they'll talk about that. Coach Blanche is a good coach, but that is something I see every game that has either been really close like Struthers or they've lost. It's been like one player putting on a show.
Well, speaking on Struthers too, congratulations out to Chloe Nieder, 1,000-point club as well. Coach Nieder's daughter as well. And I mean, a great player, great coach too. We've had a chance to talk with them multiple times. And, this is a Struthers team too, and to kind of just keep with the story and wrap up that big game, that Gerard game. Gerard did Struthers a favor because it's a Struthers team that year in and year out has been saying they know what Poland brings to the table too, and they've been wanting to test them. They tested them last year, got the confidence saying that they could beat them. I think they carried that confidence over with a very competitive game against the Bulldogs. We might start seeing a shift in the conference for the next couple years too, where the Cats might be contending for top spot. I know we were saying they were a wild card before the season. About halfway through now, and I think we got to seriously start considering the Wildcats as contenders.
Well, it's shaping up that it's going to be the first year that it's not Poland South Range fighting for 1 and 2. South Range has 3 losses. They're 2 games back right
And
now.
South Range is kind of just they're readjusting with the senior graduates, but they're still having a solid season
Yeah,
overall.
and they're still right there. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
They're
That
still
Girard wins,
program.
and remember, Poland still. I mean, South Range still has Girard, Poland, and Struthers for a second time on their schedule, so they play all 3 of those teams. So South Range still kind of right there in the thick of things, and they lost to Struthers by 5, lost to Girard by 10. So you
It's
think those games are still up in the air as well.
it's a rebuilding year for South Range, but when you have a great coach and the South Range all-time leading scorer and coach Jeff Fischel on your team as your coaching head coach, I should say, down year is 6-6 right now for South Range overall. They're 6-6 overall. And I mean, they're still one of those teams you don't want to play in the tournament. You don't want to draw them in a sectional semi. You don't want to draw them in a sectional final. Like, they're one of those teams you still are worried to beat because they play similar type basketball to Poland in that they play a very good brand of team basketball. They share the ball and they play defense. The thing with South Range we've seen, though, they've had troubles where they've gone through cold stretches on offense. That can be figured out. That can be adjusted with practice and with experience.
Well, last night South Range got the 38-29 win over Hubbard, and it was a one that was on South Range's radar because of how much they struggled the first time around versus Hubbard. They were down by 16 at one point in Hubbard the first time these two teams met. They had to come back and win by 3. This time around, South Range was in control most of the game. They led most of the game. Hubbard took 2 leads, and South Range answered immediately both times with 3s to take the lead right back. And the Raiders won by 9. Emma Cunningham had 16. Talking to Coach Fischel, this is the start of the second half of the NEA play, and he thinks that it's all about adjustments. What adjustments can we make to teams? Because he knows that teams are going to make adjustments to them now. And he's pretty confident that they can go through the second half of NEA play and really be competitive in this league.
And that's the biggest thing. If you can't win the conference, at least be competitive against the solid teams that you do have too, because at the very least, they're going to test you before a tournament. And some of these teams you're going to run into, or you may run into once tournament starts, some of them probably not because of the separation of divisions. But for South Range right now, it's just you test yourself. You're 6-6 through 12 games, about halfway point, 10 games more in the season. You want a winning record is the number one goal you have, I would figure, if you're the Raiders too, and you want to play better in the conference too. 5-3 is still a winning record, but you want to continue to compete against those teams you lost the first time around.
And here's another big thing about South Range. They're in Division 3, which is unlike most of the NE8 outside of Poland.
Mm-hmm.
You look at it, and Division 3, Martin RPI, which is a great website that utilizes kind of the computer rankings per se of basketball. He does a great job doing an algorithm across the state of Ohio. Martin RPI has South Range right now as the 12th hardest strength of schedule in the state of Ohio for Division 3 in girls basketball. So you think that's going to help them in the tournament time when they come up against these teams that just simply aren't playing the schedule that they are?
And we see a lot of teams, I think, in the Ysn family that have taken that step to really compete. I've seen a number of teams, Louisville, Fitch, to name a couple, that are higher divisions that are starting to really get into that federal league each and every season while also competing with each other. Fitch and Louisville talking about them. Obviously, Ursuline, Mooney always schedule up too to give them props to. But I love to see these teams start to schedule these powerhouses too and start scheduling, especially the bigger schools, start scheduling that federal league more because it's only going to help you getting exposed to that level of talent early on.
All right, Ty, let's go talk about the game you were at last night. Waterloo had some trouble with Lowville to start. They were down 11-5 after one quarter, tied at 16 at halftime, and then Waterloo's offense finally got kicking. But this Vikings offense has a little bit of a dry spell right now. The last couple of games. What's been your take on what's been going on in Waterloo?
It's just that a cold stretch, and I mean, there's really nothing more you can say to fix it other than just gym time, shooting the ball around, because the Vikings are creating open looks. They're passing the ball around. They're moving the ball efficiently. They would like to clean up the turnovers a little bit too. That's the one thing I will say. Lowville did a really good job in that first half. And Savannah Prosick, if you haven't heard of her or if you haven't seen her play, she's a baller too. You got to give her a chance as well. If you haven't seen her yet, she's definitely a great basketball player. She forces their hands too. Lily Vari Coppola, another one too in the fast break game, where they were stopping Waterloo, where Waterloo likes to get a lot of their scores to get their rhythm in that fast break. They play really good defense. They get that live ball turnover, get it out, get a score on you, and then they go right back to a full court press. Sometimes they'll sit back in a zone, but they like to press a lot, get those turnovers, score. Well, what Lova was doing is they turn the ball over, they get it right back. They go right back and be aggressive on defense and get the live ball turnover the other way. So I feel like that kind of stumbled with the rhythm a little bit of Waterloo. And it's just they're going through a cold stretch, especially from 3-point distance. 3 of 25, I believe, against Springfield. And I think not much of a better percentage yesterday, but definitely a little bit better, but not where Coach Longenecker would like to see this team shooting from distance. But that's the thing. They just got to clean up those shots, hit some more that they're getting open looks on. And I think the Vikings will be fine because the defense showed up big time after that 16-16 tie. They really did a number in that third quarter with a big run to start too. And they really just put a clamps down on the Rockets defensively.
And the offense was able to score 32 points in the second half, which maybe is a sign of bright days to come for the Vikings. Do you think they finally start clicking after that?
They were hitting a few more threes in that game too, but also what I've seen in the last two, Kara English is starting to get healthy too after ailing that soccer injury throughout the season. She's starting to get a lot more aggressive. I think she took it against 3 Louisville Rockets at one point in the post and scored it over top of them. She had 19 against Springfield against double and triple teams. She's a key too. If you can get her scoring on the inside, it's going to open up the outside a lot because they have to double and triple team her. Almost every team has had to double and triple team her. So she opens out the outside. It's just the Vikings have to hit those open looks, and they're going to be able to go through that. They've had their hot streaks. They're going through a cold stretch right now. But in talking with Coach Longenecker, and it's one of those things, you'd rather have it at this point in the season rather than right before tournament time or near the end of the season.
It seems like Ty. I think maybe because they went down to Florida and they've come back cold, maybe they just got a little too used to that warm weather down in Orlando.
You gotta get the bone used to this kind of.
They got a little bit too used to that tropical weather down in Florida.
Yeah, they definitely have to figure it out offensively too. But I think once those shots start falling, they start seeing them fall a little bit more. It's going to do wonders for their confidence. I have to shout out too the younger sister of Cara Bailey English, a freshman. Despite missing a few shots in the early going from distance, she kept her rhythm and she started hitting them in the second half. And for a freshman, you usually see their confidence waver after missing 3-4 consecutive shots. They don't usually want to shoot no more. They kind of second guess themselves. I was very impressed to see a lot of freshmen too, but I want to shout her out personally. But a lot of freshmen I've seen this year around have a lot of confidence coming up from the 8th grade level.
Big thing for Waterloo is they still have the whole second half of the MVAC to play. So you got Springfield again, you got Western Reserve again. You got plenty of time to right the ship and make some noise in that MVAC.
Yep, got to keep pace with the Tigers. Either hope they trip up or hope you can get them in New Middletown.
All right, we talked about 1,000 point score from last night in Chloe Nieder. We had another one. Laura McCoy gets it for Garfield. Came in needing 7 and she got 7. LeBray's defense was very aware of the situation, and they did not want to be the team that gave up that milestone. They were double teaming her, triple teaming her sometimes, is making sure that it wasn't Laura McCoy that beat them, and she got 7. And only 7. I mean, 7 needed, 7 got. So it's 1,000 on the dot for Laura McCoy.
For Laura too, she's had a really good season over there in Garrettsville Garfield. We saw her go off in the South Range Holiday Tournament for a game.
32. Oh, that was 32. Awesome.
And I mean, we all know the story, the situation going into it. I think it's a cool moment that you have that with the school you've gotten to play, the 2 schools you've gotten to play with. You've had that moment, all those people in that one gym. I think that was cool. And for Laura McCoy, another member of the 1,000 point scoring club, hats off to you. Props to you too. It's a very, I wouldn't say it's not super hard for these superstars to accomplish, but it's something where you need to be consistent and you need to be not injury prone too. You got to be healthy and you got to be consistent for at the very least 3 years in high school. And she's done that too. And she's accomplished a very high honor too of the 1,000 point club.
Here's what makes it scary for teams that are playing Garfield. She had 7, but because of the extra attention that she got, 3 G-men were able to get into double figures as Madeline Shirkey led them with 15. We saw Mandy Cardinal have 13, and then Nora Trent had 12. So the G-men have a lot of ways to beat you, and it's not just the Laura McCoy show. So shut her down at your own risk. You got other players you have to contend with.
And in case you don't know, Madeline Shirkey, baller. And
Baller.
Mandy Cardinal, if you don't know,
Baller.
another one of those freshman of the year candidates, I think so as well. Mandy Cardinal is playing phenomenal over there in Garrettsville Garfield.
Nora Trent, baller.
Yeah,
Even
I mean
Maggie Fogel, baller.
they
So
G-men are doing the right things too, and they needed that win for confidence sake after dropping that one to Brookfield too. That conference is getting a little interesting as well.
getting dicey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some other scores around the area last night. Lakeview was able to beat Niles 54-34. Bulldogs get a win that gets them a little bit back on track. Strother's final score from last night when Chloe Nieder got her 1,000 point, 68-27. They beat Jefferson. We saw East Palestine get their second win in as many days, 46-29. They beat Lisbon in an EOAC victory for the Bulldogs. We already talked about South Range and Girard. They both got the wins inside the NE8. Columbiana, Caitlin Pluska hits free throws with about 2 seconds left to give them the 24-23 win over Southern Local in a very defensive battle. Columbiana comes out on top of that one. Wellsville gets the win over Latonia, 51-37. We saw Springfield stay dominant in the MVAC, 52-36. Let's talk about Springfield for a minute because you got to see them on Monday. And I said this without you, but you can confirm or deny. Compared to last year's Waterloo games, which you were able to see, it seems like this year Springfield is just a much more physical team, especially in the paint. I think Jamaica Brungard took a step up in her physicality, in her dominance inside the paint, inside the key, and that was one of the differences.
I've been giving her a lot of compliments too, and I think I said it on the broadcast last night too, in the Lowville Waterloo game, just bringing up that Springfield contest that with Kara English, we see a lot of teams in the conference have to triple team her at times too, where double teams fail because she just splits the double team and goes up with it when she wants to. So they started triple teaming her, and she found a way to get through one triple team last night against Lowville. So that obviously raises your eyebrows. But what Jamaica Brungard did, she was able, now they did double team her, and oftentimes JC Mullen came in and helped out once Kara entered the post. But what Jamaica did was she kept Kara in front of her for a long enough time and really forced Kara into dribbling the ball, holding the ball a longer time than Kara typically does. She gets it, she goes, right? Especially if she's on one of those blocks, she's posted up, she's getting it, she's going too. And Jamaica really forced her to one side, offhand typically too, and just kept her in front. And honestly, that physicality that Brungard brought to the table really helped out too, because with her and JC Mullen, they didn't give a lot of openings too. Credit Kara English, like I said, still scored 19, still got over the double and triple teams when she needed to, but they contained her. You're not going to stop Kara English, a healthy Kara English or not, but you contained her and they didn't let her solely beat her. And also off of that too, credit the guard play too, because they didn't allow Rose Couts to be the secondary option in that one, because if it's not Kara, it's Rose. One of them's playing takeover typically, and they really stopped Rose from being that secondary option. Said, all right, Kara, if you're going to score, you're doing it through double teams, and if you're kicking out, it's not going to be to Rose.
And I think last year, with the Springfield team, we got used to Casey Mullen. We know what she was going to do. Maddie Lestak's doing the same thing that she always does. But I think that physicality is just a big difference from last year to this year when you talk about the Springfield Tigers and their chances to make a run in Division 4 as far as the tournament goes.
Confidence is through the roof for a lot of these players. Mariana Toscano too hit some big threes throughout the game, especially in that second half as well. It was a really big team effort for the Tigers, and I think 3 players in double digits against Waterloo, and they kept that right against McDonald too. And I mean, I know McDonald kind of struggling this year, but they're always tough in that conference. They're never an easy team to beat in that conference. I don't care what their overall record is. That's because they got the big guy, Mr. Coach Matizzi, on that side too. And that was another battle of Matizzi, so you knew that one was going to be a fun one.
The Sun has the advantage right now. He's won 3 in a row against good old Dad. We'll see if he can continue that throughout the years. Coach Matizzi, the oldest, the father, Tony Matizzi, seems like he's really happy at McDonald. I don't think this is going to be anywhere close to his last year. I've talked to him a couple of times. He's really talked about how much he's found kind of a new passion for coaching because he's in this situation where he has to teach the fundamentals of the game, and he's really enjoying it. So.
And you know what? I'm so happy for him too, and I'm so happy he found a continued calling for what he's really good at doing, and he's had a lot of success in what he's done being a basketball coach over the years. And for McDonald too, 4-8 overall this season. It's one of the down years for McDonald, but that's a program. They're never down for long. So give it a year, and the Blue Devils will be right back on track.
Springfield still undefeated in the MVAC, and they'll try to stay that way throughout the rest of the season. United dominant as ever in the EOAC, 55-16. They beat Valley Christian. Very interested to see how United competes against Poland.
We have to pay our taxes.
Saturday.
There's snow in January, and United wins another EOAC game. So all is the same in the world, it seems like, right? So, I mean, the Eagles are just – this is what
death, taxes, and United dominates the EOAC.
The Golden Eagles are just that. Give them the gold trophy for the EOAC. They walk in, they dominate, they leave. And that's what they do year in and year out inside the conference. I mean, you got to just credit what they've done over there as a program, but most of all, credit these kids year in and year out, new groups of kids, new seniors, taking that leadership, keeping that tradition, keeping that, that expectation of here's what we've done in the last few years. Here's what we need to continue to do going forward, because that's what United basketball is all about. And they continue to do it. Another undefeated streak inside of conference play. Curious to see if anyone in the second half of the season is going to be able to trip up the Golden Eagles.
And the Eagles, they take it a step forward. They say, okay, that's the EOAC, but we're going to go outside the EOAC. We're going to play some people too. We have bigger goals than just winning an EOAC championship. And that's what I think is really impressive. I mean, they played Ursuline this year. They're going to play Poland on Saturday. Their schedule is beefed up outside of the conference.
Played Salem too. I mean, district champions left and right, scheduling them left and right as much as they can. And you'll love to see it. District champions and district finalists. And that's what United's looking to do, taking that next step for their program. They're continuing to build. And like you said, not content with the EOAC championships anymore. They want more.
I'm very excited to see how the Eagles handle Poland. Last year when they played in United, they actually played really well against the Bulldogs. Eventually fell, but you could tell they were ready for that level of basketball. So I'm interested to see how they play it this time around on Saturday going to Poland. It's going to be a very upset Poland team, because they lost last night. It's going to be fun to see how the Eagles handle that.
This is going to be very fun too, because it's an Eagles team that has looked very much improved against that higher level of competition this year compared to years prior. But it's an angry Poland team, like you said, so it's going to make for a very interesting matchup between those two.
The MVAC has to watch out for Western Reserve. They are starting to get really confident on the offensive side of the ball. 56 points last night, 56-20. First half of the season, we saw Western Reserve play really good defense, but kind of be lethargic on offense. Not really confident, not shooting really well, but they're starting to find their stride. And they have another good offensive performance again last night with 56 points over Sebring.
I mean, I've seen Western Reserve my fair share of times, and I mean, you talk about a great player over there, Brooke Chauncey. She does a fantastic job. I saw her in Waterloo earlier this season, and you can tell. You want to talk about a player that was bound, determined, and focused on trying to win a game. She definitely balled out, and she's been balling out for the last few years, and she's been doing it in this hot streak as well. Waterloo goes to Western Reserve, I believe, next week, I want to say, is their next matchup at Thursday. That's going to be a fun one in Western Reserve as well. You got a hostile environment and a big game on the line inside a conference, and implications are concerned. I'm excited to see that one.
And, it's not just Brooke Chauncey anymore, though. In this little turnaround they had, Kaylee Ramsey starting to shoot really well from three for them. You're starting to see Lisa Eichert really start to be a little bit more dominant.
Eichert and Hughes both play really good on the rebounding game too, and they're critical. If they can dominate the glass, or if they can get the boards battle close to even, they always give the Blue Devils a shot to win a game.
Ramsey hit 5 threes on Friday night against McDonald as part of that boys-girls doubleheader. So she's starting to feel it from behind the arc, and anytime you can give Brooke Chauncey a little bit of help on offense, that defense is good enough to keep them in any game. So watch out for Western Reserve, second half of the MVAC Scarlet Tier.
They've been doing this all without one of their premier guards in Lindsey Jones this season, who's been injured from the start of the season. And, we still wish her the best, hope to see her back out. I know they're hoping to get her back out full season for senior year too, maybe get her back on some playing time end of this season. But I just can't wait to see her back out on the hardwood as well too, as it's impressive. Western Reserve's doing this without one of their top guards from a season ago.
Crestview gets to win over Liberty 55-49 to make things a little bit more clear in the MVAC. That's one less team with one loss in the MVAC. Now there's 3 teams tied at the top instead of 4. Brookfield gets to win 64-12 over Campbell. We have Champion getting the edge win over Newton Falls, starting to get healthy in Champion. So you got to watch out for them in the second half. They were so hurt with the injury bug first half. 43-41 the final score there. And then last but not least, Beaver Local gets to win over Edison 53-25 last night as well.
And I mean, congratulations to Beaver Local on the win. Congratulations to all the teams who came away with wins last night on Girls Night on the network on ysnlive.com.
And a big win for Allison Durkin and Gerard. We're going to talk to her just after this break. We'll be right back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell, and we are going to be joined by a very special guest, someone that's having probably a really good day. It is Allison Durkin from Girard, fresh off 37-35 win over Poland last night. Allie, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
You got the glitch gremlins, and you unleashed the glitch gremlins as soon as you opened it up. We got the freeze frame glitch gremlin this time, and you know this happens every once in a while. We'll get it situated here with Allison Durkin. We'll try to figure it out. Anytime you bring on live streaming too, or anybody off of that, this is what you have to unfortunately deal with. But we get the chance, if we can get her on, we'll get a chance to talk with her. And talking about a great year, have a great senior year as well. After having a phenomenal season as the captain of the volleyball team, she comes out with this big game against Poland on the basketball court.
Went nuts, Ty. She had 22 points in this game, but she had 10 of those points in the fourth quarter. So 10 out of her 22 came in the final frame, and just some really clutch threes down the stretch. This is a Girard team that shot, I think, 18% from the floor in their first matchup over Poland. Obviously, they wanted to do a lot better, and they did.
And I mean, absolutely. And that's what we call entering takeover mode, when you're able to score that kind of output in the fourth quarter, too, to help lead your team to victory. And it's a big win, too. And it's a fun win for us here at the network because it gives us more talking points as far as conference crowns are concerned. Hey, listen, we always love to see those teams have those dominating seasons like your Uniteds of the world where they just take the conference by storm and run with it. But us here at the network, we love the races. We love the tight races, the horse races, the photo finish. Who's going to take the conference crown? Gerard certainly shook things up and made it very interesting in the end.
Let's see if we fix this problem. Allie, can you hear us now? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome.
Got the administrator.
Sorry.
Allison Durkin, one of the heroes from last night's Gerard's 37-35 win. First question, Allie, is how's it feel? I mean, this is the first win that you guys have had over Poland as part of members of the NE8. How's it feel to get this big win?
It feels great. It was a great team win by all of us, and it was such an exciting feeling, coming in. And, we really wanted to try and, win this game. We knew it was going to be a big, hard one. And that's what we did. We played hard and we played our best.
What Anthony mentioned too, first time around, low shooting percentage for you guys against Poland. Definitely not up to par with what coaching you guys want. What were the conversations you had after that first game going into this one, and how you needed to prepare for Poland this time around?
Definitely when you go into a game shooting 18%, it's not going to be a really good outcome. So that's what we kind of worked on. Coach Saxon said, try and put the ball in the hoop, And, that's what we did last night. And, leading up to this game from the past 2 weeks after losing at Poland, we knew that we needed to put the ball in the hoop and do a little better shooting. And that's what we did.
Okay, there were 2 moments in this game where it felt like, Poland could have just taken over. They took 7-point leads a couple of times. And, a lot of teams could have just gotten in that mindset, oh, here we go again. It's Poland being Poland. But you guys did not give in to that run. You came back and had 7-0 runs on both times to tie up the game. What were some of the big reasons why you were able to come back every time Poland tried to run away with the game?
We wanted it really bad. Like I said, the past couple of weeks, we knew we wanted to beat Poland and have a good chance trying to win the NE8, trying to battle it out. And that's what we did. Being down in the third quarter and the first quarter, we knew we had to work hard and push ourselves even harder, give 110%. And that's what we did. We all really wanted it. We all worked together really well. And that's what we did to have the positive outcome.
You're a star on the hardwood for multiple sports as well, too. And I can't remember if I asked you this in the volleyball chat we had earlier. Last year, I should say. But what are some parallels that you see between the sports, too, if there's any, in your experience with volleyball and your experience with basketball? Are there parallels that carry over? And if so, what do you see in your experience with the sport?
Some of the things that definitely carry over is working together as a team and the relationship and bond that you have with your teammates and your coach. Coming from volleyball, we all, the past 4 years with the team that we had, we all have been playing together since we were younger, especially the 6 seniors that we had, playing in 7th, 8th, and then all through the high school career, and that carried over to basketball too. The 6 seniors we've been playing since we've been together since 5th grade. So that's, had a big turnout, and the bond that we've had with Coach Sachs has been incredible. And with Coach Phil for volleyball, it's just been incredible. So that it's such an important part to have such a good bond in teammates with your coaches and teammates.
Okay, I want to ask you about the last couple seconds of this game, because obviously Poland goes to the free throw line with you guys leading by 2. And at that point, it's completely out of your control whether or not Sarah Forsyth hits free throws or not. What's going through your mind when Poland goes to the line and there's a possibility that it's tied, possibility that you guys get the ball back up 1? What are some of the things that are going through your mind while they're at the free throw line?
We talked about Sarah Forsyth and how she had hit the 2 winning free throws against Struthers. So that is someone that we tried to keep off the line the past game, but we knew when she got to the line, it was do or die right there. After she had missed the first one and the timeout was called, all we really wanted to do was box out Katie McDonald so that we could get the ball and secure the rebound and then win. And that's exactly what we did. We had Mackenzie White and Ezra Dede boxed her out, and they did a phenomenal job. And that's when Ezra secured the rebound. So that was such an exciting feeling to experience.
A lot of these wins have come to after or during the Christmas break as well. Do you guys feel too as a team? I think only 1 loss has come since or just before the break, if I'm not mistaken. Do you guys feel as a team having that kind of mental pause in the middle of a season like basketball? It's unique compared to other sports. Do you think that mental pause kind of helps refocus the team and get you guys a string of confidence? Or do you see the Christmas break as sort of a distraction in the middle of the season?
The Christmas break, being off school and stuff, coming to practice, working early in the morning, it's kind of relief. It's the turning point. We just hit mid-season, 11 games, so we knew we had to kick it into high gear, come out with a positive and better attitude going in the second half of the season, and that's what we did. We've been playing really hard, been working really hard in practice, and it's been paying off. So, I'd say it's a nice relief, and it's fun.
All right, so the big question after any big win for a team is, how do you balance celebrating what this win means to you guys while always realizing there's a lot of season ahead and that win doesn't exactly give you anything just because the one win? How have you kind of balanced, taking time to celebrate and then also focusing on the next opponent, which for you guys luckily isn't for another week, so you have some time to celebrate this win a little bit.
We knew after the game we celebrated in the locker room, but as Coach Saxon said, it's not done. The job is not done, and that, like he said, we don't play again for another week, and we have Lakeview, which is going to be another competition. And following with the rest of our schedule, it's all going to be a hard competition. We just have to give 110% and practice hard and play even harder in order to have a nice winning outcome season.
Do the practices look different when you have such a long time in between games? Or is the intensity kicked up when you don't have actual live ball games going on for a week?
Yes, practice definitely drags a little bit going, not playing for a week. So luckily Coach Sachs gave us a couple days off to, on Saturday and Sunday to recover, and then you kick back in on Monday. So, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just go high gears, but it definitely does drag a little bit, not having that intensity, high level performance from, another team. So it does hurt us a little bit, but.
All right. So you got some days off. What's your favorite thing to do on the off days?
Definitely sleep in a little bit. I like to sleep, and then just, being with my friends and my family. That's something that I enjoy doing the most.
All right, the old basketball cliche, Allie, is shoot or shoot. You got to have confidence as a shooter. How much does last night, do you think, boost your confidence going forward that you can put the ball in the hoop and you can take whatever shot wherever it is on the floor?
After Monday's game, I struggled shooting a little bit. I missed a couple layups, I missed a couple free throws. I don't think I hit any threes. So going into Thursday night's game, I knew that we all had to come out and hit a big performance. And, I just wanted to bounce back after Monday's game, try to have a better outcome. And that's what we did. I kind of found my rhythm, and I just kept shooting the ball.
We talk about, like, historically wise, first win since being a part of the NE8 against Poland. What do you think this does for the younger players on the program to see that win and see that it is possible for this program? And what do you think this means for the future of Girard girls basketball, this type of win?
It's huge, and I hope the younger girls definitely take this all in, because since my freshman year, we have not beaten Poland. That's all we ever wanted to do. So I hope they realize that they have the full potential to, and that they can, as long as they work hard and give 110% of practice, that they are fully capable of beating Poland or any team that comes in the gym and who you're facing. So I really hope, that opens their eyes for them and that they can do that too.
Okay, before we let you go, Allie, I want to give you the chance to shout out one of your teammates who's up for Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley, Seisha Triplet. Voting is still unlimited, still available until Monday at midnight. Give us your best pitch on why people should vote for Seisha.
Seisha she's such a fun girl to be around. She always has a smile on her face, and she brings so much laughter and fun into the gym. She's just a great person, and she clicks so well with all of us. All the seniors have such a great bond with her, and she's just been around us since we've been in 5th grade, and she's such a great person. I really do hope that she wins, this week.
Speaking
of Girard fans, you heard it.
Yeah, get out there and vote. The voting's already getting up there too. Before we let you go, though, speaking of laughter, I gotta ask too, who has the best laugh in your family, and tell me why it's Breen.
Breen does have a good laugh. He's always looking to put a smile on someone's face, and he's such a lovable guy. I do love him, and he's the best out there.
I love seeing him too. I always love catching Breen at one of the games too. One of the great officials in the area, no doubt too. And you're a great basketball player as well, and you had a great game as well. Another big superstar performance by one of these Girard players. Surprise, surprise, huh, Ant?
I know, it's shocking. Lakeview next, right? So, Allie, wear that cape all week. Enjoy it, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
You got it. Allison Durkin, 22 points last night in Girard's big win over Poland, 37-35, the final score there. And the last shout out, hey, Baird Brothers, Big Dog of the Valley, voting is still open. It's open until Monday at midnight. Girard fans can vote for Seisha Triplet, and any other fans can vote for whoever they want. We have wrestling, boys basketball, and girls basketball all up. ysnlive.com/bigdogs is where you can find it. hit that vote button. We love to see you shock those numbers up. We're already over 1 million total votes when you combine wrestling, girls basketball, and boys basketball. So let's get them up to 2.
Get them up there. Voting's unlimited too, and vote early, vote often, and vote every single day that you can. We actually extended it a day too, I believe, because of Martin Luther King Day.
We purposely did that. Usually we release them on Tuesday and Sunday, but we said, hey, it's a holiday weekend. A lot of teams aren't playing on Monday. Let's give people an extra day. So we released the Baird Brothers Big Dog nominees on Wednesday, and now it's until Monday at midnight. So a little bit of a tip of the hat to Martin Luther King Day on Monday. Not a day without games, but a day that's slowed down as far as the teams that are playing on Martin Luther King Day.
Some MLK tournament games that usually happen too. There's usually little holiday one-day tournaments. So
big ones we're going to have the one in Ursuline, which is going to be a big tournament, but also in Berkshire, the Hoop Fest in Burton, Berkshire is going to have a lot of good basketball. Salem girls are going down there to play West Geauga, who they played in the tournament last year. A very good game, very good team in West Geauga. The Bray boys will be down there. Boardman boys play Riverside. Canfield girls are going to be down there on Sunday. They're going to play Eastlake North.
We love tournaments. I mean, that's tournaments, especially in basketball. They're fun. We got a chance to be a part of that. The Holiday Hoops Classic saw some great games. Saw pretty much every type of game that you can imagine in that one. And that's what tournaments bring, man. You'll see a little bit of everything. It's like a buffet of basketball. You want a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You got all of it right there in front of you.
So be sure to head down to Berkshire on Saturday and Sunday if you're bored and you want to see some great basketball in the hardwood. We got some good girls games and we got some good boys games as well down there. So it should be a fun time.
Certainly exciting too. I always love basketball tourneys.
Well, we're at a time. Let's preview the rest of the night and the weekend on the network and what games are going to be up on ysnlive.com/live tonight, tomorrow, and now Sunday, because we have Sunday games. We got some big news as we got Friday night. Let's see, boys basketball 1, 2. Oh, I'm on the wrong date. Hold on. I was like, wait, there's not a lot of green there. That's because it's next week, Anthony. Big news real quick. Cardinal Mooney and Ursuline tonight has been postponed. So the Holy War is going to have to wait a little bit longer. That game is not happening. So that means we'll start with Cocker at Wyndham. The school's YouTube page will have that one covered. We'll have a link to that on the Wyndham page for YSN Live. So that one you can find on YouTube and YSN. East Palestine will be at Lisbon tonight. Rick Daly will have the call. 6 p.m. tip-off for that one. 6 p.m. tip-off. Garfield travels to Crestview. Larry Scragg will be on the call there. 7 o'clock tip.
That guy, Larry.
Our guy, Larry. Harrison Central travels to Beaver Local. Chris Sigler making the trip down there to Beaver Country to call that one. Ty, you're going to be in Fitch as Howland comes to town. Could be a fun conference matchup for the Falcons that are really on a big streaking right now.
Yeah, and they need another win to try to keep pace after dropping that one to Harding. They can still control their destiny inside the conference, but it gets a lot tougher now with that one loss to Warren Harding.
That conference is brutal. I mean, that's a Fitch team that's already beaten Walsh Jesuit, but they can still get knocked out by Harding.
Beat Boardman, and then and I mean, still Canfield, Howland. I mean, all good basketball teams, all good basketball coaches too.
Jefferson will go to Struthers tonight. The school crew will have that one. Always put on a great broadcast on the field house. And Jefferson is going to try to keep pace in the NE8 for their eventual second matchup with Girard down the way. The first matchup was really good. Girard won by 3. Lake Center Christian will travel to Warren JFK. Dom O'Brien will have the call for you there. 7 o'clock is your tip-off time. That should be a fun one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, boys basketball night on the network, that seems to be a great matchup. That's going to one of many great matchups.
Anytime you watch Warren JFK basketball, it's a fun time.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Coach K does a great job over there. Coach Comlack, I mean, does an absolute fantastic job.
The real Coach K.
Yeah.
OG.
That's our Coach K, right?
Our Coach K.
Yep.
Ian O'Brien had the call the night last night with Girard beating Poland. He'll go to Niles tonight as Lakeview comes to town. Dragons, by the way, one of those Baird Brothers Big Dog of the nominees will be in action tonight. Sam Perrone from Niles. You can vote for him at ysnlive.com/bigdogs. So I think Matt Kozak's also a player that a lot of people don't talk about enough from Niles as well. They have some talent down there.
They
And do the
absolutely.
Dragons.
I mean, Niles is 8-4. They're 3-3 inside the NE8 because the NE8's a solid conference. But yeah, Niles they've gotten their share of wins this season. 8-4, not bad at all.
Latonia goes to Wellsville. Coy will have the call on that one. 7 o'clock is your tip-off time. Lowville will go to Waterloo. Eric Hughes going to take your spot in that water and be down there for Waterloo. We talked about Navarre Alisar off the air before we came on the show. What a stretch of games he's having.
Yeah, Navarre Al-Hassan is absolutely playing takeover mode in that fourth quarter. He had 12 of his 24 in that Springfield win in the fourth quarter, too, after Waterloo trailed for the better part of 3 quarters,
Right.
a majority of 3 quarters. So the Vikings, once again, got on that comeback trail similar to Crestwood, and they were able to bust through in that fourth quarter. Navarre is a huge contributing factor with his takeover play in the fourth.
It's going to be a really big one in Badger tonight. Matthews will come to town, and last year Matthews put a hurt to Badger, and Badger wants some serious revenge. We'll see what the Braves can do at home this time around against the Rockets.
Are they more dangerous because they had that heartbreaking loss to Pie Valley now?
So
Are they a little more dangerous now? I don't know.
I'll tell you what, if they get a lead, they're not going to give it up. That's going to be one of the key points of practices probably the last couple of days. Like, we got to finish basketball games. They had an 18-point lead against Pie Valley and gave it up. So I think if they get a lead against Maplewood, I would be shocked if it slipped away.
Momentum can be an awfully unfortunate thing to you as well. Yeah, it could be detrimental and it could be a great thing. But momentum, well, on this case, it hurt the Braves. But it wasn't a case that the Badger couldn't have beat Pie Valley, right? Badger absolutely could have beat Pie Valley in their one and only loss of the season. It was just a case where Pie Valley had some of the last shots, had a lead late, and time ran out.
Hey, Pie Valley's a good team. Like, they're in districts. They're always in the thick of things in districts.
If I'm not mistaken, there could be a rematch in the playoffs too.
Well, there could be a rematch in the conference. I mean, I think they play each other twice. So
yeah,
Badger will travel down.
I wasn't sure if that was the second one or the first one.
Yeah, you're right. I think it was.
It might have been the first too, because it's that weird midway point of the season. But I think they're in the same division as well for tournament time.
I remember that NAC, the crossover games count as conference wins. So even though you don't play those teams twice, when you play, like when Badger played Bristol, it still counts as a conference win. For NAC,
I've heard that before too, and you know what? I completely forgot about that. So the NAC is a little bit different as far as what counts as conference wins and what doesn't.
It's like if Waterloo played Crestview and won
across the MVAC. Yeah,
right. It's the same concept, except the MVAC strictly cares about your side. And if you do play the other half of the NAC, then you will receive conference wins for that.
It could also be because I believe the NAC has a total of 11 teams, and I think it's like 5 and 6 as a pair compared to 16 for the MVAC.
Speaking of the MVAC, Middle Ridge will come to Jackson Milton as they try to deal with the Romai brothers, who are electric. And they just play. I got to give a shot. They play basketball the right way. They are high character kids. I always see them helping people off the floor after the whistle blows. They will compete like crazy during the game, but they also hold themselves up with such respect. I got to give them a shout out. And they'll be in action tonight against Middle Ridge as Jackson Milton tries to bounce back from a really tough loss to Western Reserve, where they felt like they had control of that game.
Having both the Romais and then Aiden Stanky as well too. Stanky's another baller over there for the Blue Jays, and he's another human highlight reel for Jacksonville when he gets it going.
Poland will go to Girard in a big NE8 matchup. Poland wants to wash out the taste of that 2-point loss to South Range on Tuesday. Girard is the league's best, so what a way to do it. Avenge the girls, right? go to Girard and get the win.
That'll certainly be interesting. Girard is playing some really good basketball this year, and I don't know if anyone was really expecting this. And on the boys' side of the NE8, it was kind of a little bit open, but I like I've always said, it's Struthers until it isn't. They took it right from Struthers' hands, and they are running with it. Jefferson, though, having a really good season after all they lost, too.
I think the worst thing that could have happened for the NE8 teams is Girard's slip-up came outside of the conference.
Yeah.
They slipped up against Salem. Like, that was a game that they felt like they should have won. They didn't. And that got them refocused.
And that's the game you want to slip up again if you are Girard, too.
I know. Yeah, the non-conference game it really doesn't mean anything to Girard. They wish they would have won, but at the same time, it wasn't in the conference, and they kind of refocused, and they've been winning ever since. Speaking of winning, South Range is on a 3-game winning streak, and they will go to Hubbard to try to extend that. This boys team looks real rejuvenated, a lot more energy now ever since that win that got them kind of off the schneid a couple of weeks ago.
Absolutely. And you know what? You always feel good for the kids that can, and for the kids that can put their heads together and just say, forget the adversity outside, forget everything going on. Let's just go on to the hardwood and play some basketball.
Just in the X's and O's of basketball, we said it when the season started. It would take South Range a little bit of time to get going because of the football run. And it seems like the football players are starting to find a groove. Landon Moore, who we know is a really good basketball player, but was on that football team, starting to find a little bit of groove. He had 15 against Pullman, led the way. So Landon Moore starting to find a groove. Aiden Leone starting to find a little bit of a basketball groove. So I think that's a big factor as well inside the X's and O's of basketball. Just the fact that it takes a beat to get into basketball shape and get into basketball rhythm. And I think we're starting to see some of the players that are crossing over from the football team who are really important to that team's success find that rhythm a little bit.
These kids have played 16 weeks of football, no bye week. They don't even do that in the NFL. They don't do that in the NFL or college. These kids have played 16 weeks of football, no bye week. It's going to take them a little bit of time. And you know what? Like I said, for all the adversity that they've faced outside of the basketball court, they've done a really good job in recent weeks of just, forget that. Let's not think about it. Let's get on to the hardwood and let's win some basketball games. Credit the Raiders for doing just that.
Looking to make it 4 in a row tonight in Hubbard are the Raiders. That's the 7:00 tip-off. Jamie Thompson and David Williams will both be on the call in the Eagles Nest. Southern will travel to Columbiana. Joe CBO will be on the call there for you. 7:00 tip-off in the EOAC. Springfield travels to McDonald. Noah Doty will travel to McDonald with him and have the call at 7:00. Steubenville goes to East Liverpool. That'll be a really, really good game. East Liverpool feeling it in boys basketball right now. Peyton Kerr, a big reason why. Vote for Preston Kerr, excuse me. And you can vote for him on Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley as well.
I mean, Coach Conley is one of the best, I think, over there. And for what was it, 11 seniors that East Liverpool lost last year? Like a ridiculous. They lost their team last year. 11 seniors, and they just came right back out and was like, "Yeah, we're."
They lost 2 lineups and change.
And they came back out 10-1 record. It doesn't matter.
With that EBC, there's no one that's even contending with them right now in that EBC. If I remember.
Coach Conley does a great job of just getting the most out of these players and getting them to have supreme confidence, not only in themselves, but in each other and trusting each other, both on the offensive and defensive side. Great coach, great team. Unbelievable what the Potters are doing this year.
I think Indian Creek is the next team up from that Buckeye 8, but they're like 3 games back.
Yeah, well, right now, looking at our standings page,
right,
Andrew, which you could go to ysnlive.com/standings to get all your updated standings. Harrison Central is behind them with a 4-2 conference record. They're 5-6. Indian Creek is 6-5, but a 3-2 conference record.
Okay, so Indian Creek has the better overall record, but
that doesn't matter when we're talking conference.
You're right.
But as you look at it now, 2-game lead on the second place team, Harrison Central, and 2.5-game lead because waiting for the extra game for Indian Creek on Indian Creek. So well in hand so far for the Potters as the conference.
So tonight, the Big Red heading into the Big Blue. It should be a fun one in the Potter Field House, which is one of the best places to watch a basketball game in the area. Some people would argue the best place. You can have that argument on our comment section if you want. Where's the best place?
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of people say East Liverpool. A lot of people say Struthers. A lot of people, say something else.
A lot of people say Canton's, the field house out in Canton too. So there's a lot of great basketball spots in Northeast Ohio. So that's definitely a good talking point.
And then last game on the network tonight, it'll be West Branch at Minerva. Michael Janaki will be on the call. They're traveling to Minerva for this one for the Warriors. No, not the last game. There's one more that's down there in the slew. I think it just got added. Alec Caberna will be in Camel as Liberty goes to Soup City to try to get a win. Other games that are happening that this won't be on the network. Alliance travels to Salem at 7:00. Beechwood goes to Edgewood. That's a 7 o'clock tip. Cheney will be at East at 7. Indian Creek will be at Edison. LeBray at Champion. The MVAC leading Newton Falls Tigers will be hosting Brookfield, who's coming off a big win and a big offensive production. So that's a big game in the MVAC. United will be at Valley Christian. Warren Harding goes to Canfield, and then Western Reserve will go to Sebring.
Full slate of matchups. We have a decent amount of them on the network live for you tonight, completely free, thanks in part to our sponsors. And as always, we like to remind you, if you'd like to join the sponsoring team here at ysnlive.com, become a sponsor yourself. Go to ysnlive.com/advertise, and you'll find the best package that best fits you and your company.
Easy to do.
Absolutely.
And you don't get, no one will give you as much bang for your buck as YSN Live. Let's go over Saturday real quick as well. We got girls and boys basketball, plus we have hockey and flag football on the network on Saturday. So girls basketball at 10:45 a.m. Wake up early with Hoppy. It's going to be Beaver Local at Columbiana. I'll be in Poland as United comes to town at 12:30. A little bit later on in the day, Ty will be in Ursuline as Austin Town Fitch travels to take on the Irish, who are starting to put together a little bit of a win streak in their own right.
First time.
How about Fitch? Fitch lately, I mean, we don't have time to really dive into it, but Fitch lately is on a tear.
And
now, I know they lost to Madison Washington by 2, but I mean, you look at what they did to Howland on Monday. My word.
They're starting to play as a team, and you love to see it.
Howland will be at Mooney at 2:30 as well. A little bit later on in the night, Valley Christian will travel to Heartland Christian at 5:30. Canfield plays at Cheney on Saturday. They'll have 2 games in 2 days. They play at Cheney on Saturday at 2:30. Boardman hosts East at 2:30 on Saturday, and Chagrin Falls will be at Edgewood. That's a big matchup between 2 one-loss teams on Saturday as well in girls basketball. On the boys' side on the network, Kennedy Catholic will travel to Cheney. That's a big one coming over from PA. Kennedy Catholic, 3 o'clock in Youngstown. Howland will travel to Boardman at 7. Oak Glen will go to Wellsville at 7. Hubbard will be at Western Reserve at 7. And then Valley Christian will travel to Heartland Christian at 7 as well. Hockey, we have CVCA versus Canfield. Matt Marr going to be on the call. 5:45 will be the start time for that. And then at 6:30, we have some hockey. Western Reserve Academy against Orange, the school handling that. And then the big thing, USA flag football in Tampa Bay with DJ Oakley and the 441 Goal Boys in Tampa, Florida for USA flag football.
That's awesome too. And I mean, that's so cool. We're going to be represented down there, and it's going to be a fun one too. Great crew on hand for that one. And for future references, the puck drops at 5:45 when we're talking.
Did I say tip off?
Yeah,
I get so caught up and say
start
tip off.
time. I think you said start time.
Oh, well, face off is what it really should be. Face off, right?
But the puck drops at
the
5.
face off. It's the face off. Let's get into Saturday real quick. We're a little bit overtime, but who cares? There's no one on at 2 anymore. Liberty will be at Warren JFK for the MLK Holiday Tournament at Ursuline at 3 o'clock. And then the Urban Scholars will play Ursuline at 5 o'clock. Dom O'Brien will have the call for both of those on Sunday. And then on hockey, the puck will drop at 5:15 on Sunday as Orange welcomes in Notre Dame Cathedral Latin. Don't forget there are also those games in Berkshire. Boardman versus Riverside at 2 o'clock on Sunday. Canfield Girls versus East Lake North on Sunday at 3:30. Salem Girls are playing at 12:30 at Berkshire against West Geauga on Saturday. And I believe the LeBray Girls are playing on Saturday as well against Berkshire, the host team, at 6:30. So there are those games happening in Berkshire as well over the weekend. And those will actually draw a lot of interest into our power rankings, how those teams can do against some of the area's best. So a lot of fun stuff. We'll be back on Monday to recap it from 1 to 2. Until then, this is Anthony Hartwig and Ty Bartell signing off. Thank you so much for tuning in today to Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood.